Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just wanted to make a quick video today to kind of give you an update on what's been going on in the workshop this last week. I just got done with a small test firing, and it looks like the small batch glazes are not melting completely. I'm starting to wonder if the rutile I got is raw rutile, not light rutile, but I honestly have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to troubleshooting glaze just yet. I'm still kind of just getting started, but we'll figure that out. So I got some tools in from Kiln. I believe that's how it's pronounced. They're tungsten tools, so they come in a nice package. That way you can store them properly when they're not in use. You just got to be careful not to drop these because they're really fragile. But I got the D shape, and I got the 7 shape. So I've actually had 2 of these that I've been using so far, but I was watching a couple videos and thought that these might be nice to pick up, so I went ahead and grabbed them when I was able to. But I'm looking forward to giving those a shot. But moving on to other stuff, I have here like the first mug that I ever bought. This is a Simon Leach mug. I watched a lot of his videos learning how to throw pots. And I actually ended up getting one of the wheels that he uses to throw on. And I think it's got to be the best thing that, one of the best decisions in terms of like a tool that, for me personally, I've made since getting into throwing pots. I just feel like throwing on this is a much better experience. You're in control in a different way. So I don't know, you'll just have to give it a shot if you ever can, and take up the opportunity to. But really from the start, these past 3 years, it'll be coming up on 3 years soon that I've been throwing. It's hard to believe a lot has happened since then. Time has flown by. But first pot I ever bought was right here, and I kind of set out to imitate this pot in its form. You know, it's taught me a lot. I've thrown a hell of a lot of pots that have gone in the trash, trying to get it to look somewhat close to that. Honestly, a lot of mine have been coming out bulbous. I got into kind of flaring out the outsides and really trying to just work with the rim. And I learned a lot about applying handles, pulling handles. I went through the hoops and tried to get, I got an extruder and thought I was going to get away with not practicing my pulling of handles with my hands and just kind of extrude the handles, but it just wasn't for me. I could have played with different dies and stuff like that, but I just resigned to the fact that I'm going to have to learn how to pull those handles myself with my hands. But most of this form, you know, his is a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, and kind of more slender, not as flared out. Mine were more flared out most of the time, and I did that little lip work there to kind of make it look a little different at the top where that handle attaches. But I would say I have lost count of how many pots I've thrown and have thrown in the trash. So I think that it's time. I've learned a lot from this form. Just setting out as a beginner, learning to throw a cylinder, throwing a hell of a lot of cylinders, and doing a lot of repeat throwing of this shape to kind of get it closer to this. But a lot that come out of the kiln I don't really like, so I just throw them away. And I just keep chugging away, and you know, you'll get a decent pot every now and then, but a lot go in the trash. But after this much time, I think that I've made enough mistakes to kind of notice things that I kind of like, that I think would look good on a pot. And I've seen enough of clay coming through my hands, I guess, to kind of get an idea of where I might want to take something on my own terms. So I think that it's finally time to start moving on from this form and doing something a little bit more personal. I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know if it's going to continue to go anywhere, but I'm definitely gonna do more of exploration with my own forms. I think that this taught me a lot. It taught me how to throw a cylinder, taught me how to do work at the top of the pot around the lip. So I think that'll be good for transferring into doing more galleries the proper way for lids. These handles, my starter handles were miserable compared to the handles that I'm doing now. And I've got ideas for where I kind of want to take the handles, but I don't know how to get there yet. So I'm just going to keep throwing them in the trash and working toward a better refined handle that I really like. But I think we're well on the way to that. But I just kind of wanted to stop that by here. Don't be afraid to make a ton of one form and throw it away, because that's how you learn. It is a sad thing for me to move on. It feels like a lot of time wasted, but there's a lot to learn in throwing one form over and over and over again till the cows come home. So other than that, I just got a kiln firing done here recently, a little small one. A lot of that was just to practice, run with some of the small batch glazes. They didn't quite do what I wanted them to do, which I'm starting to suspect that there might be maybe a mix-up with the rutile I got. I'm going to run a test here soon with 8% rutile just on top of my base glaze and see if it looks anything similar to the tests that I did this winter. I'm just going to do it real simple. I found that with my approach to glaze, I think that I'm going to go at it with like Timiku. It's iron oxide basically on top of your base glaze. So kind of work with the Timiku, work with the textures on the side of the pot, maybe do some stamps, stuff like that, designs, and kind of get that to work better on my pots, and see where I can go with that. It's nice and simple. Also gets me to think more about how the glaze is interacting with the surface of the pot by practicing with that Timiku over the texture. And then I'm also going to move into that rutile test to kind of see, is my rutile behaving as I would expect it, just as one ingredient in addition to my base glaze. And if it's not, I can kind of start to suss out what's going on with that, But other than that, just kind of going with the cobalt, kind of just a blue, just simple steps, adding, one ingredient, maybe magnesium carbonate, I think it was, or calcium carbonate, to the Timiku eventually by certain percentages, to just work my way up with baby steps again, kind of with what I've got on hand. A lot of what I got on hand in terms of glaze ingredients now is in bulk, so I know, this is what it is supposed to be. It came out of that bulk bag. If you buy like a 50-pound bag or like a large amount of a certain ingredient with the colorants, it's hard because you don't need 50 pounds of cobalt or something like that. So you kind of have to, with the colorants, get those smaller amounts and just trust your distributor. I highly advocate for local area businesses whenever you can, so that you physically are seeing the place that ingredient is coming from, and you trust the people that are getting the ingredient for you. Always test your ingredients. You can get into some big trouble by not testing things and just moving forward with mixing up batches and expecting it to work similarly or likewise. But the most interesting thing that did come out of this firing was a little pouring. It was like a little creamer container that I made and glazed up. Didn't quite turn out like I wanted it to. The glaze, it seems like the rutile didn't melt. The cobalt melted though, so it's a nice blue. I've got it inside, or I would show it to you. And I got these spoon rests that came out. I added a bit of iron oxide to that Timiku I mixed up the other week. It did come out much darker. It might have came out a little bit too dark, but here's one of those spoon rests. This one's not my favorite that came out, but I noticed that with the texture, if you kind of make the texture, this one, the spiral is kind of skinny, but if you kind of make the lines a little bit wider, it almost looks better. It gives what seems to be more of an opportunity for that glaze to kind of separate and run over the spiral. Here it just kind of, there's not much, I don't even know what to call it. It just looks more developed with the thicker line is what I've noticed. So I'm gonna try to keep that in mind moving forward. But yeah, I'm fully anticipating to make up a bunch of these. So if you ever come across the page and you see a bunch, just let me know if you want one. I can get a price made up and ship them out. I've only got a couple done right now. I got a few that I wanted to throw away. This was like the first run of the ones that I started making, and some of them came out a little too small, so I just chucked them in the trash. But good practice for dipping and stuff like that. Like I said, moving on from this form, I've got a bunch of these laying around the shop. I'm just gonna glaze them up for practice. I like to do the double dip where I think that's what it's called, where you get it in there and you pop it up and you get both sides at once. I like to do that for my mugs, but I'm definitely excited to go into some of these other forms, maybe with a more simple lip, and I'd like to get into making, spending a little bit more time with each pot. I want to start exploring trimming feet onto my pot, because a lot of the times I'll see this flare and I think, you know, obviously you got to get the proportions right, but I'll think this would look really good with a foot on it, this more bulbous form as opposed to the skinnier form. I'm sure they would both look great with feet in their own ways, but this has got my gears turning a bit about doing a little bit more trimming and getting those feet on these to make them a little bit more fancy, or whatever you would call it. But that's something I plan on doing ahead. But yeah, just a quick update, and I got the jugs over there drying up. Probably gonna throw some Timiku on those and see what happens with that. And I'm thinking about dipping the top quarter of these in a different color of glaze, so I kind of get a little bit of something different. You know, maybe take this bottom half and make it like a Timiku and put something on this top quarter that's more like a blue or a green or something like that. But I got to get my colors figured out. So there might be a time here soon where I just kind of like recede back into doing glaze testing, just to kind of get this ironed out, because it's been going on for a while and I've just been kind of throwing it to the wind with what I made up. You know, Timiku is pretty reliable, iron oxide. It's darker, it's not as dark, you know, there's different things that different glazes can do, but the Timiku seems to be pretty easy to make up. So, but these colors have thrown me for a loop, and I've just got to do a little bit more testing to figure out exactly what's going on with that. But thanks for stopping by, everybody. I'll let you know how these tools go. I'm sure they're going to be great, but check them out yourself. If you got a little bit of extra money laying around and you're tired of the old tools that you buy and they dull out really quickly, or they just, you know, require a bit more maintenance, go ahead and give them a shot. But if you do, let me know, and by then, you know, maybe I'll be looking for another shape of the tool. So take care, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a good day.